If you're in a hurry to get toned and tight arms, this is for you. And I highly encourage you, although you could jump right to the exercises, stay and listen to the instructions because we need to keep you safe. Here's the scoop. So we're going to use a system called rest pause. Now you can use this with any exercise, but the challenge with adding arm exercises to a workout is hopefully by now you really want to focus on major muscle groups, your chest, your rowing actions, bent over row, bent arm pull over, lat pull down, your leg exercises like squats and lunges or leg press and leg curls, because those major muscle groups actually boost your metabolism most. And when you're pushing and pulling, you are using your biceps and your triceps. You will get more muscle tone potentially and see it if you work on increasing your metabolism with major muscle groups than if you just jump right to only doing arm exercises. So be sure what you're doing is figuring out a way to add some arm exercises to that major muscle group focused workout. And then this is your ticket. The one thing I want to say before you jump in and do this, however, is I wouldn't do this every time. So vary it. I'll link to some other arm exercise videos so that you've got variety, that when you are really pinched for time and you're like, or I want to shock those muscles because they're just not paying attention to you anymore, this is a game changer. One caveat, it's tough, it's challenging. What it's going to feel like is one major set, and you will need to watch the clock. So you either want to have a watch with a seconds timer on it, you've got to count and be diligent, or you want to be able to see something counting down for you. And you really don't have time to put those weights down in between. So I'm going to start demonstrating bicep curls. Now you can do bicep curls standing, or you can do them sitting down at a chair. But what I want you to be sure that you're doing is focusing on slightly bent knees if you're in a standing position. It always helps me to put my weight back on my heels just a little bit, bend, and just be sure I'm engaging my core. Sometimes it's helpful to put one leg in front of the other. That makes you a little more aware of your core, so you don't allow yourself to hyperextend at the knee and then hyperextend at the back. That puts the pressure right here instead of helping you be alert and actually engaging your core. So be safe. All right, I'm going to start with elbows in. I'll start with biceps up or palms up. You can also do that in neutral or switch along the way. Here's what we're going to do. The first part of this set, we're going to do about 12 repetitions. Now, if you hit 11 or 10 or even 13, you're okay. But then you're going to rest for 15 seconds. That's not very long. And then you're going to go again and do between 5 and 7 repetitions with 5 seconds rest between, and keep going. All the consecutive sets work like that. So here it goes. So we'll do the first set. When I can no longer get 4 repetitions or I start to get sloppy, I'm done. Surprisingly, it doesn't take long. So here we go. A weight that you can do 12 repetitions, but you're reaching fatigue. So here's one. I'm going to take it nice and slow. So I could probably do a little bit more, but if I slow down, the time under tension is great enough that I'm going to reach muscle fatigue. Now I'm also squeezing my elbows in. Are you counting? We're at 4. So this is kind of important. I'm not a huge count. Being off just a little is okay, but in this set, it's more important. So we're going to call this 6. Slight bend of your knees. So if you're doing this with me, hang in there. And pull. Nice and easy. Very relaxed at the neck. Don't let your shoulders creep up. Pulling in. Now you should have no more than about 4 to go, or you know that weight is a little bit too light for you. So going slow enough, again, changes the game. If you're used to going really hyper fast, you may find this is really hard with the weight you're used to. Good, I've got one more, and I really am pretty much at fatigue. So what I'm going to do is count, and I don't have a watch on. So I'm going to count 1001, 1002, 1003. Now you could put these weights down, 1004, or you can hang on to them. 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're going to start with that set of either 5 to 7 to fatigue. We get only 5 seconds break in between going again. So it really feels like one big set, but it's these mini sets that are helping you overload the muscle and reach fatigue and hit that peak of really recruiting all those motor units. Important for you to reach the point where you overload. I'm going to do one more, but I'm starting to want to swing and sway. So I'm done. Okay, now 5, 4, 3, 2, and I'm going to go again. Yeah, elbows in close to my side. Good. So this is only really the 3rd set, right? Pull, release it down, go super slow. 3, it's getting ugly over here. So I'm going to get 4. So this is not my last set. I'm struggling with 4. That's when I would stop. Here's 5. And I'm going to do one more, but I'm already wanting to cheat. My muscles definitely getting sore. I'm going to take 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go again. Elbows squeeze in. No rocking. Weight on the heels, slight bend of your knees. Here's 2. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm getting sore. Oh my gosh. I'm feeling it in a way I don't normally. I'm going to potentially squeeze out this last one, and then that's it. And a release. Good. Woo! Okay. So let me tell you how that feels or felt. So those muscles in there really got stimulated in a way that when I do sets at the gym, sometimes I'm listening to a podcast or just music, and I'm not focused on that way. So notice the difference might be for you too. Put down anything you're using to distract you and motivate you. Sometimes you have to check back in. So my biceps are a little fatigued, but again, we're doing this like at the end of a workout. I'm in a hurry. I've got to probably get out the door. I've already spent 30, 45 minutes with a warm up. The workout, cooling down has to happen after this. So I'm going to go right to triceps. Now, one exercise I love, some of you, your shoulders don't allow you to do it. So while I'm going to do an arm exercise that's an overhead press with my triceps, and I love it, some of you don't because you may not have shoulder mobility. So you could be at a gym and you can do a press down using a cable with a bar going straight down here. You could do this one with a straight arm. Remember, your triceps also cross your shoulders. But to go really heavy and reach fatigue, probably I'm going to suggest do a short lever. For some of you, you like a tricep kickback. You like to do them this way, perfectly okay. And again, remember, that's a small muscle group probably that you're going to want a lighter weight for. And I know it's the same one here, but we're going with gravity. Here, we don't have gravity on our side, so smaller weight here or resistance. That is smaller. If you use a cable, you could still do this one, but a lighter weight, definitely. All right, are you ready? Same drill. Let's say it again. So you're going to do fatigue at about 12 repetitions. You don't want many more. If you fatigue at 10, fine. We rest 15 seconds. Then we're going to do 5 to 7, rest 5 seconds. Do 5 to 7, rest 5 seconds until we can't get 4 or 4 gets really ugly. So if you're doing, say, a kickback, and now you're rounding your back because you can't focus, you're tired, you are shrugging your shoulders, your form gets poor, and you know you're cheating. You're done. So be honest, right? Fatigue is fatigue, and when we're talking strength, fatigue is success. So again, when I'm having you do a tricep exercise, some of them can be done seated. And if you prefer that, fantastic. It's less to think about if you are standing. When we bring this up, your lower back has to stabilize. Core has to be on. So you need stability from the back and the core so you're not arching the back. So again, if you tend to hyperextend the legs, you'll be more likely to arch back. So I want you to be sure you have the strength and the body awareness to stand. And if you don't, just be honest. Sit down. You'll get more benefit from the arm and less risk to the back. So I happen to need, I'm going to cross these over. So if I had a single dumbbell that was 20 pounds, that's what I would be using. But by the way, my weight is none of your business. You fatigue at 12. What is that weight? Here we go. So I'm going to go 1. It's always a little slower on the way down. You want to be sure you're slow. And 2. And then slowly come down. 3. And lower. Check in. Your weight should be on your heels. Slight bend of your knees. Great job. And up. I like to make sure that my neck is relaxed. Push. And then down. So I'm using a little bit of power. You can feel or see the speed here if you're doing it right there with me. Nice. Now, not doing as great a job counting for you, but this is about 10 right here. So I want to be consciously thinking I'm using both arms. And that, no matter what choice you're making. And push. Good. And that's it. And I'm going to bring this down. So I have to pause 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, get ready to go, up, and 5, 6, or 7 is your number here. 1. If you're standing, slight bend of your knees. 2. 3. Slowly come down. 4. 5. I'm going to do one more. I could probably pause right there. I'm going to get that one, and then we start counting 1, 2, 3. These come quickly. 4, 5 seconds, and we go. Down and up. 1, 2. Keep the neck relaxed. 3. Getting tight. 4. I've got one more in here. And up. And then come down. You're going to rest 5 seconds. 1001. 1002. Remember, when you can't get 4, you're done. And come back up and set up. Here we go. And 1. Use both arms. Relax the neck. Exhale. Nice job. Stick with it. 3. So this is my last one because it feels like I don't even want to do it. And relax. Nice job. Now, again, it feels like one big set, but there were little pauses. This is literally scientifically called the rest pause formula. Don't hear a lot about it, but you've heard or seen me talk about monster sets. This is similar, but you actually get rest in between. So it's a very sneaky way to work that muscle to entirely fatigue, but also to say, hey, wake up, shocking you. I'm going to change the game. We're not going to do it the same we've always done. Sometimes that's what that muscle group really needs. And if you have done a great full body workout, you've done chest press, you've done bent over row or your lat pull down, other exercises, pushing and pulling for the chest and back, they have worked these biceps and triceps. Now you're just taking it a little bit further. I love this one. Do it but don't overdo it. There you have it. That's a great way to find a real shortcut to about in a minute and a half or two, you get a great full set. Now you don't need to go on and do any more exercises. You've hit that one and you're done checking out. Here's the thing, don't overdo it. That's the only advice that I'll give you. Throw it in every once in a while, but don't throw it in every time. That's the beauty of rotating exercises. We need all kinds of stimulus. We need it to change. So if you're on a plateau, you're not seeing tone, and or you're like, I want to fit in arm exercises, however, I don't have any more time, this is your key. Okay, for those of you that stayed to the end to say, what is this thing going on with your hair? Here's the deal. So I did not intend to be a blonde. I don't intend to be a blonde. But what I did is decided, I'm 61, I've been coloring my hair since I was 28. I always said as long as I can afford it, I will do it. What I ended up feeling is the time was terrible. So I was having to color again and again too quickly. And I didn't want to spend that hour and a half in the chair and the commute. This is too much. So, I also started feeling, I just like to be a little bit more transparent than that. I don't want to have to feel like my gray started showing. By the way, mine didn't start here. That started at 28. It started it's like grow out big time. I didn't have a hot spot. I had a whole hot head, but I had to go from dark to a lot of lightning. So this is where we ended up after really a long day. So this is on the way to more silver, which is really my color. So if I go like this, the roots are really quite white, and yet this is kind of a pit stop along the way, and that's kind of hard on your hair. So I'm just gonna give it a rest and let it start coming out and be a little cooler as we go. So there it is. But for any of you who are thinking about it, wondering, do I want to go gray? Am I ready for that? I wrestled with all of that. In fact, when I was 59, I said, that's it. On my birthday, that's the last time I'm coloring my hair. I'm going to let it go. By the time I'm 60, I'll be silver. And my mom had great, beautiful white hair. So did my grandmother. And 8 weeks later, I was like, oh no, I'm not ready yet. So give yourself the grace to say, I like coloring and I don't mind the time or the expense, and you can do it and your hair is in good shape. Do what you want to do. Do you. What I found was a revelation is, I kept saying, this is so ugly. Why would God do that? And as I grew my hair out and I could see a little bit more of, okay, wait a minute, this is going to be okay. I have the facial coloring to handle, not so much blonde, but the silver. I don't know that I'm a good blonde, by the way, and many of you carry this better. My intent is never to be blonde. I was a bit shocked. But then I was like, this is hair. This is a first world problem. A lot of people would love to have hair to worry about like this. And so boom, it's just temporary. It's just hair. And it's an opportunity that I never would have had otherwise to actually be a quote unquote blonde. So there it is. Welcome your thoughts. I'd love to know if you're going gray, thinking about it, you go back and forth with these thoughts too. And the other thing I think about is if I don't like what silver looks like or feels like, I don't have to stay there. But I think knowing that I can change my mind anytime I want to also feels like, yeah, so this here does not have control over me. What are your thoughts about that? And the biceps and triceps. I want to know if you're trying this. I want to see your progress.